My name is Melissa Jenkins. This is my informative speech for Communications 101. Imagine yourself in a sea of thousands of teenage girls, screaming, crying, fainting, even pulling out their hair. This was the hysteria that happened over 50 years ago, and since then, nothing has come close. The purpose of my speech today is to inform you all of the history and the significance of what we know as Beatlemania. I will explain how this fan frenzy was created and also how it has changed the music world today. First, I will speak about the history of Beatlemania. In the movie 8 Days a Week, directed by Ron Howard, it explains how the history became, or how this history came to be. After forming in the 1960s, Beatles played several small venues throughout the UK. They became very popular instantly in the UK, but had yet to experience the pandemonium in the United States. In 1964, February 9th to be exact, according to History.com, the Beatles performed their first show on the Ed Sullivan Show. 40% of the United States population tuned into this event. According to the same site, during this US tour, the Beatles fans became so crazy, so hysteric, that they had to actually bring in Beatle decoys, gentlemen with Beatle wigs, to distract the crowds away from the actual band. The band couldn't get into their shows, their hotel rooms, they even hid in bathrooms. One fan was so crazy that she actually stuck behind Ringo Starr and cut a piece of his hair as a souvenir. The Beatles epidemic was all over the United States. They could not only sell out the small concert venues, they actually had to be moved into 50,000 people stadiums, and those they would sell out as well. The Beatles came to the United States at a perfect time, from what PopMatters.com explains. During the early years of the 60s, America was mourning the loss of John F. Kennedy, and also racial segregation was a huge impact. Now that I've explained the history of Beatlemania, I will now explain the significance and the influence. The Beatles' music also came at a perfect time. It was an outlet for young children, teenagers, during the time of conflict and a lot of social movements. The Beatles' music not only influenced the fans, but also musicians alike. John Lennon and Paul McCartney wrote their own music, which at the time was not very common. They were known for their creativity, and this paved the road for many musicians today, some such as David Bowie, as well as Rolling Stones. According to 8 Days a Week, the movie, Jacksonville, Florida proposed a segregated concert to the Beatles. The Beatles did not agree with this, so in true fashion, they suggested that they decide they did not want to do the show unless it became integrated. They got their wish, and the concert became an integrated concert, and many of the stadiums then followed in their footsteps. The Beatles' music created a lifelong connection to many of their fans, the baby boomers, everybody that enjoyed their music back then still does to this day. They've also passed it on to generations and generations. Me, myself, my father is obsessed with the Beatles, hence why I'm probably doing my speech on them. And also now it has passed along to my child. So the Beatles' music has influenced and created a love amongst many ages, races throughout the globe today. In conclusion, today here I have discussed with you the history as well as the significance of how this epidemic was created. There's been nothing like it for 50 years, and nothing probably will come close. Thank you.